Well, we are here at the Nashua Republican City Committee annual stakeout, and I'm standing here with James O'Keefe and Andrew Brietbart.
That's steak, S-T-E-A-K.
That's correct.
Because they would think you're staking somebody out.
But that's very true, and frankly, between the two of you, you guys have done certainly enough of that, and impressed the heck out of the crowd yesterday at the AFP event. One of the things that you said, James, was actually three things. Annoy your media's representatives. Go and try to do this stuff yourself, and if not, support me financially. And in the generic term, I said to myself, support anybody doing this kind of stuff generically. Right. Because the tie-in with you, Mr. Brietbart, is that you know how to tweak the media, and you're actually trying to turn the media's game onto themselves. My question is, with the two different disparate skills that you guys have, how did you guys meet up in the first place?
Sure.
Well, 2 years ago or so, when we were doing when I was producing the Acorn thing with Hannah, and I had finished the videos, a mutual friend of ours, Maura Flynn, who was Mike Flynn's wife and produced a documentary film, I happened to find her somehow through political people, and she said, "You need to show these tapes to Andrew." So
you had already had trouble trying to get people within the establishment.
Yes.
You were showing them this blockbuster stuff that ultimately led to the defunding of the congressional defunding of Acorn. So it was obviously blockbuster stuff, but you had gone to the traditional people, and they had rejected you in pretty glorious terms.
Yes, there was a couple instances where, without getting into the specific names, but there were a couple people who I went to in Washington with these tapes, or told them about what was happening, and this was the Acorn investigation, and they threatened to arrest me, threatened to arrest Hannah, said that this was ridiculous and outrageous, but they didn't really want to do anything. So I decided to go the media angle, and they said that Andrew was the guy to go to get, to break that story.
So your reputation preceded you, and certainly in the blogosphere, you've had a big impact with all of the bigs, the big journalism, big peace, big government, and I understand you've got a couple more coming out as well?
Well, big education for sure, which will try to tap and incorporate as many young people into this type of journalistic and pop cultural mindset, and start doing what the left has done in media for the last 50 years. What James did with Acorn, what James did with NPR and other entities. He would be on the cover of Rolling Stone and Spin magazine. He would have been on the cover of Time magazine. They would have granted him his own his own wing of the J School, the same way they did that for Hunter Thompson. Hunter Thompson, when people start criticizing James or me, or even Matt Drudge back in the late 1990s when he started out, it was left of center J School types who would say they would poo-poo what we were doing because it was exposing left of center entities. But when a Hunter Thompson is out there taking acid or mescaline and then riding and touring on the presidential media plane and taking all these psychedelic drugs and writing in drug metaphors, like that the lizard-faced, Spiro Agnew. The establishment embraced it and put it on a pedestal. James O'Keefe would have an HBO show right now, doing the types of things that he does, if he was doing the things that he does against right-of-center entities. If he had gone into the Tabernacle Choir as a gay, as a straight person, and then started belting out show tunes or something, and embarrassed the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, that would be front page, like, can you believe that we busted these bigots at the Tabernacle Choir? And it would be all over the place. The reason why James the left, who doesn't really believe in rules in the first place, tries to create rules that only people on the right have to live by. They're allowed to selectively edit. They're allowed to have their Borat having his own show on HBO. They're allowed to do all this stuff. They're allowed to embarrass Republicans by pretending to be something that they're not. And so the thing about James and me is that we both refuse to allow for the left to define us. And it's going to take a long time for conservatives to understand that they've existed in a box that the left has put them in, and they're happy to live in that box, and we don't want to live there.
Yeah. James, one of the things that I did at Right Online in Minneapolis a couple of months ago was to interview you and a research policy wonk from Reason Magazine, Reason Foundation actually, and I kind of illustrated that you were sort of the seeker out of the edges, that you kind of use your skewering talents to be able to go in and say, okay, where's the intersection of where the mainstream anything intersects with what people think, and then show that it's not quite true, that the conventional wisdom is oftentimes not even present. Right. How did you develop that skill other than with the Lucky Charms story from college?
I think it's exposing them for precisely what they are. It's not only is it the edge of absurdity. It's completely absurd with the things that we catch these people on tape doing, ingratiating themselves to members of the Muslim Brotherhood at NPR. But it's also precisely who they are. It's the heart of, we grasp onto a fundamental truth about an organization, a fundamental truth. When I was on YouTube back in April of 2009, I happened to see Acorn employees literally breaking and entering into foreclosed homes. Now, I happen to identify with those poor people who are kicked out of their homes because the economy sucks. But you can't break and entering into property. That's against the law. That's outrageous. So, okay, all these Acorn people are breaking and entering into homes. They're getting $100 million or whatever it is of taxpayer money. Well, that's wrong. So we grasp onto a fundamental truth, a truth about Margaret Sanger at Planned Parenthood. Margaret Sanger founded Planned Parenthood. She is a racial eugenicist. That's a fundamental truth about Planned Parenthood that you'll never read in any newspaper. So all that Lila and I did was we called Planned Parenthood posing as a racist donor. So you may think that these things are the edge of the absurd, when in fact they're the edge of the absurd to us, but they're fundamentally true about the organizations we choose to investigate.
Well, I want to say thank you to both of you gentlemen for taking a few minutes with GraniteGrok. I appreciate the work that you do, and I can't wait to hear you in a few minutes.
Thanks.
Thank you.